Silver and Gold. Here to tell us all about it, President, CEO and Director, Robert "Bob" Archer. Welcome to the program, Robert, or should I say Bob. Could you give us a bit of an intro to Pinnacle Silver and Gold, please?
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much, Danielle. Well, Pinnacle is, in a way, a relatively new company. We changed the name, restructured a couple of years ago, and then picked up what is now our flagship project, El Potrero in Mexico, just in February of 2025. So we've literally had this project for less than 18 months. And the key thing for us about this project is that it is a past producing gold silver mine. And that's really fundamental to our business plan, which is to acquire a mine like this that has been sitting dormant for a while, bring it back into production as quickly as possible, and then try to build the company out of cash flow as much as we possibly can. So maintaining shareholder value that way. So that's really what we've done. In the time that we've had it, we've been advancing the project very quickly. And one of the reasons we're able to do that is that I've already done this kind of thing before with my previous company, Great Panther Silver, and we built that up from concept in 2004 up into a mid-tier producing mining company. And by the time I stepped down in 2017. And so now I'm reassembling some of the same team that we had in Mexico that built that company. And so that allows us to move fairly rapidly with El Potrero and moving towards a restart of production.
Well, you mentioned that El Potrero is a past producer. I know it's not the only past producer in your portfolio of projects. You have some assets there in Ontario in addition to Durango, Mexico. Can you give us a bit of an overview of the portfolio?
Yes, we have two projects up in the Red Lake area of northwestern Ontario. One of those is actually a past producing gold mine itself, and we've had those two projects for a number of years prior to acquiring the project in Mexico. But in keeping with our current business model of fast track to production, that's something that is easier to do in Mexico at the moment as opposed to in Canada. And so we've just decided that for the moment, we'll focus on El Potrero, try to get that back into production, and then we'll go back and look at redeveloping the Argosy mine, which is the past producing mine in Ontario.
And speaking of developing Potrero, you have secured non-equity financing of up to $5 million US. Congratulations. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. That was a fairly major milestone for us, actually, because this will provide project financing for us. This will give us the confidence that we have the funding to procure the equipment that's necessary to rebuild the plant, and the funding to extend the power line, which is only about 3.5 kilometers. But nonetheless, extending that down to the plant for rehabilitating the old mines, which are on site, and building out the tailings storage facility, that type of thing. So the capital expenditures to bring this mine back into production are only about $4 million US, and then another million or so for working capital to do that. So it's not a big budget item, but just knowing that we have access to those funds when we need them is it gives us a lot of confidence going forward. And I think bringing in a group like Oramet, whom I have worked with in the past, and I've known them for about 20 years. So there's a solid relationship there, and we work well together. And given that they are a global metal trader and financier, I think having them put their support behind us at a time like this, still relatively early in their development stage, it brings a lot of credibility for us, for our team, for the business model, and for the project itself. So it's a great combination, and we're really pleased to be in this position, working with Ormet and having access to those funds.
Sounds like it's full steam ahead now, Bob. And I understand that your goal is to develop these projects into production So, given that overarching strategy, what sort of milestones and timelines are we looking at for key news flows moving forward?
Well, we're actually actively drilling underground in the historic mine workings at the moment, and that's really a closely spaced delineation drilling program to properly define the mineralized zones. And when we're finished with that, we will transition to a surface drilling program that will be able to drill some of the areas we can't access from underground, as well as testing some of the additional veins on the property, because this will be, as it was in the past, it will be an underground mine. It's not an open pit, and uh, so. But one of the key things is that it has never been drilled before. It's always been privately owned and has not operated since 1990. And so it's never been drilled, it's never been explored by modern methods. And so we know that there are a number of other veins that are mineralized, and we want to drill those off. So through all that drilling, there will be results coming out with that. But we're also advancing on various fronts with permitting, and then ultimately towards the end of this year, I think we'll be should be in a position to make an actual formal production decision, and then going forward from there, it'll be ordering equipment, installing it in the plant, and the various aspects of development that are needed to bring the mine back into production. Which we're at this point in time, it's still about 18 months out, but our goal is to try and get it back into production by the end of 2027.
That's an ambitious goal, and it sounds like a really fun treasure hunt. I'm very excited to hear these results and see how you go with this fantastic 18-month deadline.
Yeah, we're looking forward to. We're excited to be working on it ourselves. Actually, it's a great project. It's very high grade, gold and silver, no base metals, and we're making great progress so far. So looking to keep that continuing.
And we're looking forward to hearing those results and comparing them with all that historical data that you have.
Yeah, no, that's actually one of the things about this project is that there's not a lot of historical data. We're basically starting with a clean slate with a lot of this because it has never been drilled before, and even though it was in production, we don't even have any of the old production records. So it's an interesting project in that regard, but we're making some exciting discoveries already, and we're really enjoying the progress so far.
It certainly sounds like a really interesting one.